Hey everybody, GP here. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and I wanted to throw it out there, especially to the non-dual, those interested in non-dual self-inquiry. A non-dual prayer? Ooh, that doesn't seem quite congruent, does it? Prayer, as it has been in most traditions, and especially in the Western traditions, for most of us here, prayer has always been a supplication, an asking of the higher power, the supreme being of the universe, this super being with all sorts of power over our life and the outcome and punishment and reward and all that, for benefits, or please give me something, do something for me, help me out. And that is a form of prayer. And in fact, with a lot of sincerity, if one's really truly sincere in their heart, and not just asking for stuff, but also having a deep desire to surrender to the will of however they imagine God to be. With this, yes, I really want this, but thy will be done. That's a much more humble, more lofty, more powerful prayer. Now, in the world of non-duality, there is no idea, there's no concept of a super being out there somewhere, a God in that sense of the word. But there is the sense of the supreme being, not a person, not a shape, not a form. Think of the ultimate beingness, the origin, the source, the foundation, the background, the essence of all things, where everything ultimately came from, and which ultimately is seen we are one with. But even on the non-dual path, where it is non-dual self-inquiry, where you are breaking down old assumptions and conceptions and the like, and doing something like, who am I? Where whatever is perceived, whatever experience you're having is, well, I'm having this experience, but to whom is it appearing? Well, to me. Who am I? And that turns one's attention away from the particular content, whatever happens to be happening in the moment, towards ourselves. Because we're here having that experience. Our tendency is to always be on the content, the thing that's happening, and never until we know about it, some attention to start going towards you, the one who is aware of it, the one having the experience. And that's a process that really deepens over time. But when there are times, I'm sure everyone who has seriously gone about self-inquiry, where it seems like you just hit the wall. It's like, I just can't go any further. I just can't get past this place. This is a very, very important moment. Because self-inquiry is about, examining ourselves over and over and over again, looking more and more deeply, trying to step further and further back from what's happening on the screen to myself who's viewing it. But part of that transformation that takes place, part of the realization that takes place, are these times when we realize that even our best efforts, our most sincere efforts, aren't enough. Something in us needs to let go of that, of our own human drive, our capabilities, our own, relying on our past laurels, relying on our skill, on our intellect, on our humility, on our patience, right? To find it that even that, being so good, being so wonderful, being so refined and developed for somebody on the spiritual path, isn't enough. Right? There's something that happens inside. Something that just kind of surrenders to the fact that you're reaching for something beyond what you know, beyond what you have been capable of. And that's when that prayer I put as the title of this, I have found for myself to be so incredibly powerful. Hitting those places where you would say just, Lord of the universe, supreme beingness, true self, Buddha nature, whatever, pure awareness, whatever you call it. Purge me from ego and merge me with you. It's a beautiful thing when the heart opens up like that. You could also say it like, replace me with you. Because isn't that really what we're doing? We are trying to transcend the egoic mind. We're trying to transcend the mind. Right? And yet, throughout the process of self-inquiry, we're using the mind. We're using concepts, ideas, pointers, metaphors, images. And the whole process, which Ramana Maharshi, the biggest proponent of it, said himself, was self-inquiry is a concept. It's another idea. Absolutely essential idea. It must be done. We have to do it, and in the process, we have to run into these walls. We have to come to the place where, wow, I can't do it. Lord, purge me from me all ego. Right? Replace me with you. Now that's not a prayer towards a personal God to replace you, right? It's a deep feeling within the heart of surrendering yourself to the truth which is beyond what you can possibly attain. There's you with your very best efforts cannot attain it. This is what's meant by grace, right? We can't actually do it. All we can do is go up to the door, come right up to that door and knock on it. But there's no door handle on that door. You can't turn the knob. It has to open. Right? The truth is, if we really look at it, the whole path you've been on, wherever you happen to be on the spiritual path, and you're somewhere on there, you wouldn't be listening to me, right? Or any other spiritual teacher that teaches non-duality. So you're already on that path. How did you get on that? Was it a deliberate decision? You looked at all the paths, I think this is a good path for me. Or was it just something that came very spontaneously? Something that just seemed to come out of nowhere. And you found yourself interested, engaged. It was resonating. Before you knew it, you were there. You were listening to these things and watching these things on YouTube. And before you knew it, you were totally immersed and beyond the point of no return. That's grace. Something moving. It's like something deep inside calling you home. Or as Rumi put it so beautifully, the power that brought me here must bring me home. So there's a recognition that there's something beyond our intellectual understanding. Very early on, especially if you have an agile mind, you have good functioning intellectual equipment, it becomes really clear that the truth must be that that ultimate supreme being, the true self, is one. Therefore, I must be that. But that's still conceptual. And our best efforts can lead up to that door. They can't open it for us. There's a threshold that has to be crossed. And I find it's not even at the ultimate stage, right? When you're like, we're like standing there right in front of nirvana, ready to take the step in. We're at all sorts of stages along the line. There's a sense of like, wow, I've run out of moves. I can't go any further with this. And that's when it's like, Lord, purge me from ego. Purge every last bit of egoic intention and will, and I'm going to make this happen. All the I's that I have been serving, and replace me with you. Merge me with you. Merge this mysterious process that I've been kind of ushered along on, that I don't really understand. A little bit. I'm cooperating to the best of my ability. To take over. Merge me with you. Or rather, I admit you've been governing the thing the whole time. Right? From our perspective, on the path, there's like a me and the true self that I am trying to merge with. Right? The truth is that the true self is all there is. There's a sense of being separate, this gulf that we're trying to cross. But the truth is there isn't a separation, and there never was. But the deep experiential recognition of that truth is something that happens. The I that started the inquiry, as Muji puts it, the one who starts the inquiry doesn't finish the inquiry, but is finished by the inquiry. All of the great masters and great sages have talked about this point where simply all your efforts have come to this. They were all absolutely necessary, but there's a point at which your effort no longer, it's it. It's gone as far as your effort can go. And it's a point of like deep, deep surrender. Right? And a willingness to surrender. And our intellectual conviction that I am the self becomes a faith that I am, and a trust. Right? And it's like a deeper dimension that opens. And this prayer, Lord, replace me with you. Purge me of all ego. Right? Purge me of ego. And merge me with you. It's kind of like it's all in your hands. It's kind of like Christ on the cross saying, it's finished. Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit. Right? Just beautiful. Right? I think maybe we should follow that example. So, yes, there is such a thing as non-dual prayer. If you see prayer as just the deep yearning of our hearts to go home to the truth of our being, then it doesn't seem so incongruous, does it? Yeah. Thank you all. Till the next video, all my love to you. Namaste.